Hi, my name is Jarrell Pyro Johnson, and you are listening to
the FSF PopCast, your home for the all-nerdy, no-dirty interviews with people in our sci-fi and pop culture world. Hello and welcome to Pop Culture Addicts. Our guest today is a rap artist with a new album out called Life is a Musical. He's also an actor with some notable credits and some pretty awesome ones that we wish we could talk about, but with NDAs being NDAs, that means that we're going to have to wait until 2022 to see what all this awesomeness is that surrounds our guest, Jarrell Pyro Johnson, and what he's gotten himself into. So welcome to the show, Pyro.
Hey, it's good to be here. So good to see lovely faces and hear your lovely voices.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us.
Aww.
He likes us.
He likes us. That's not
He's
creepy at all.
issues.
We have the issues. He's nice. All right. We talked a little bit of this about beforehand. And we had the opportunity to have you on another show that Kathleen and I do called Funny Science Fiction Podcast. And so we're not going to talk about all your NDA projects and what you've got going on there, so we can keep you on the right and legal side of things. However, I do want to ask you about your general level of nerdiness and geekiness, because when we had you on the other show, you had quite a bit of depth of nerd to you. It was pretty impressive. I was like, because I always wonder when I have people on the show and I invite them on. Many times we invite them on because we just want to have them part of the live show and have fun with them, and hey, this will be cool and all this kind of stuff. But what I'd like you to do is take a couple minutes and tell me all about little Jarrell and how he became such an awesome nerd who acts, raps, and apparently is super cool enough to match his curtains with his hat and his T-shirt.
Well, what's crazy? I've been into comic books as a kid. My dad was not really there in my life, but he left comic books. So that was his way of being there without being there. So I kind of became a little pop culture nerd, I would say, which is cool. It's cool to be a nerd.
Absolutely.
And I've just been reading comic books, and I don't know. It's just a love of fantasy and fiction. And actually that goes hand in hand with acting and rapping, because just to see, how a normal human being can become like a super being out of nowhere, just because sometimes the level of his mind or the omega level of what he was gifted with and how he uses those gifts to be either good or bad. Mm-hmm. It's so cool, which is why I love Dungeons and Dragons, because sometimes it's more than just good and bad. Sometimes it's literally like chaotic good, chaotic bad. Sometimes there's reasons to get to that point to solve a certain point. And I just feel like in everyday life, if everyone were geeks or nerds, this would be a way better world that we live in, because it would be more understandable, like why people do certain things to get certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Why do certain things to get certain things?
It makes sense. I get you.
Yeah.
We know what you meant. We're good with it. So before we go on, though, I want to know what were some of you. Now, you mentioned that your dad left behind some comic books and you read those. You mentioned Dungeons and Dragons, but were some of your other geek influences?
I was a huge Pokemon fan. Matter of fact, I still play Pokemon to this day. Cool. I'm actually excited about the new Diamond and Pearl remake they're making. I'm just curious to see it. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what they do with it. But I would say Pokemon for sure. I love Power Rangers. I don't know if Power Rangers is really more of a anime. I think that's like anime. I think they adopted it to anime now, but I guess it's kind of geeky,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't know. It was just more fun to be someone else, So just to see things being created, I just feel like geeks have more fun. Nerds have more fun, And I love chess. I played chess. I used to go. My mom used to take me to the park to play chess with like older people. And that was fun. I was like maybe 9, 10 years old playing dominoes and chess against the older generation. And just all those influences just made me just be more into board games and studying. And it's really weird how that all worked hand in hand.
All right. That's cool.
It makes for a well-rounded person, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think so. More people should play chess, right?
Well, it's kind of cool because you have your mind, has its hands in a lot of different pots, which is cool because I think a lot of people sometimes kind of get stuck in one lane and they feel like they can only like this one thing, or they can only appreciate this one thing.
Right.
But now you've shown that on your geek influences, it's kind of all across the board in what you do and everything. And how does that apply when it comes to musical influences and how you became the musical artist that you are now?
Well, like kind of like Kathleen was saying, which is actually totally correct. And I wish I would have said it first, but she beat me there. So whatever. I feel like if you know how to master everything the best way that you can, it just makes better for everything in life. Like, when you play Monopoly, some people, they don't focus on collecting the houses. Some people focus on the hotels, which is a better deal than the houses anyway. And some people just focus on collecting the gold, the $200, which describes our economy, which is crazy. Like some people really just focus on the help from the board versus becoming their own help. So I feel like the geeky influence in just, especially in chess, like you're literally looking at all your pieces to protect the main thing, which is you. So you're trying to figure out which way I can protect myself through different avenues of things. So my goal in music and acting now, and literally now kind of going into the financial coaching game, is literally figuring out how I can protect my queen from being knocked down by the opposing team, which is everyone that is not me. And if I can help someone do that too, it just becomes a bigger board. So I can help their boards and get a little bit of residual from helping their boards.
Sure.
That makes sense.
I can totally see that.
Yeah, I get that. So who were some of your musical influences growing up? What did you listen to?
My favorite MC growing up was definitely Will Smith.
Okay.
It's crazy because a lot of people don't give Will Smith the credit I think he's due so far as a rapper, because he started off as a rapper first before he went into acting and all that.
Big fan.
Yes. Lost and Found was one of my favorite albums. Great album. And then it went from Will Smith to Ice Cube, of course, because, I live in California. Well, I was born and raised in California. I don't currently live in California. I wish I did sometimes, looking at the sun. But yeah, so definitely Will Smith, then Ice Cube. Then as I developed, it was DMX. May he rest in peace. And then from there, it went to Eminem. And right now, totally, Eminem's like my favorite MC right now.
They're all solid.
It's a solid playlist. And you're right. I think people overlook Will Smith because they think, oh, he was the Fresh Prince. He had a silly TV show. And, but honestly, the things that he did as the Fresh Prince, he's got some solid bars, man. He really does.
Definitely.
And I think that people don't really give that enough credit. There's an album that he did with Jazzy Jeff called And in This Corner. Yeah, I'm sure you're familiar with it, but there's a song on there. The very first track on that is called And Then She Bit Me. It's a silly song. It's funny, but there's some tight rhymes in that song. And he hits this one spot in the song where it's kind of like he's just kind of like loafing through the song, and then he hits it. And it's like, ooh. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people to give him credit because, he wasn't really an artist that cussed a lot. So at that time, it was just like, well, if you don't cuss, you're not really an artist to be respected or listened to. But I sometimes I feel like even with my music, sometimes I try to alleviate the cussing as much as possible because I feel like cussing is kind of cheating because cussing are good. It's good filler words,
Right.
I like speaking French as much as possible, but I just feel like, a lot of people use that to make words instead of just being creative and making the word.
I feel like those expletive words should be used more as a topping, that they lose their shock value. They lose their appeal if you overuse them. They become other words, and that doesn't have the same influence as when they're the shocking words.
Right. And that's actually a really good point, because if it was used like that, the song would actually be better, and the words would, like you said, it would be more impactful.
Yeah.
Hit harder.
I think
those words would get your attention the way that they're meant to.
Right. A little bit is good. A lot could be too much.
They're like sprinkles.
Exactly. Sprinkles are for winners. So
I was actually, after you mentioned D&D, is that something that you still do, that you're still interested in?
Well, when it comes to D&D now, it's more like I play Skyrim. I play a few D&D inspired games. I have this one friend, his name is Skylar Gray, and he does this thing where he literally is going into communities. He does like a YouTube video. It's called Back in the Deck. That's his channel. And what he does is he kind of does D&D, but he does it with like the younger generation, which I really respect because it actually gets me more back interested in it because it's more into life, and I feel like even as a teacher, like I have a son, and I feel like, sometimes hammering things at them doesn't really teach them versus showing them in life. So he goes to like these community outreaches and he like plays D&D with them, but he also relates it to life. So when I play that with him or is talking, or I am talking with him about that, I'm sorry, I can't spoke today.
It happens.
It makes it, it makes it just work.
Yeah.
Because D&D is so great, man.
It is. I was just, as soon as you said D&D, my brain did the, yay.
Yeah. And I mean, Diablo, of course, we love.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, because I love Skyrim. I had, after my husband and I got married, that was the first time I played Skyrim, was with him. And my first Skyrim save, I had like 360 hours on it before it got accidentally deleted, which sucked. Like, earth-shattering felt like sucked. But my current character's got like almost 600 hours into it.
Oh, okay, well, you just double back
right,
up.
Right? I made up for it. But it's one of those games that like you can keep going and going and going. And like the first time I played through it, I blasted through the main storyline and ended up trying to fight Alduin at like level 14.
Oh, terrible.
Which is a terrible idea.
Terrible thing to do.
Terrible idea. So second playthrough, I'm like, no, I'm going to go and I'm going to level up and I'm going to, I maxed out my heavy armor. I maxed out my two-handed weapons. I maxed out my archery. And I'm like, then I'm going to go beat Alduin. And I got him down in like 3 hits. And I'm like, well, thanks.
Nice. Well, my favorite thing in Skyrim is definitely crafting. I'm a huge crafter. And I like persuasion because I feel like I'm a persuasive person. Mm-hmm. So as long as I can persuade, craft, and maybe do a little lock picking here and there, I feel like I could take over the game. Like I don't, which also shows you that you could literally win the world without really being a brutal person. But that mouthpiece can control everything.
Yeah. So what's your favorite class or like your favorite race to play in Skyrim?
Well, I mean, not just because I'm black, I like red guards, of course, but I mean,
I can totally see that though. Red guards are solid.
God. I need help. Oh, God.
So I tried playing as a Khajiit, and that was the worst mistake because even as you buff them up as much as you can, they are so squishy. They are so squishy.
Yes.
You know
what's
great?
Breathe underwater? That's like the best thing they can do.
That is really cool, though.
You know what's really great about this conversation?
You have no idea what we're talking about?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I have never played a minute of Skyrim. You guys are over here. Y'all might as well be reading from a Greek cookbook to me right now because I can't understand a thing. I'm like, smile and nod. Yep. Skyrim. All right. I keep saying it's on my list of things to do. You know that list I keep telling you I have, Kathleen? That's
life and job and kids.
That is ridiculously long. Yeah, that's what it's on that list. And someday I might even get around to it and I'll understand what all those the fancy words y'all just used, what they all mean. But as of right now,
I will tell you as of now, just as a heads up, Tim, Khajiit are cat people.
Of course they are. So
think horrible Cats rendition movie. And,
oh, yes.
But make them actually cool. And yet still incredibly squishy.
They can talk really well, too. They have good persuasion, too.
They have really good persuasion. They do have a fun unarmed attack because they're cats and they have claws.
Yes.
But, yeah, they are giant cat people.
Okay, then.
Or you could be an Argonian that's a giant lizard person.
I'm sorry, yes. Argonians are the ones that can breathe underwater, not the Khajiits. I'm so sorry.
Oh, right.
Khajiits are the persuasive ones.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's been a minute.
It's been a long time.
I've been playing Diablo a lot and kind of got a little stuck in somewhere else.
Well, and it's funny. It's like Skyrim was one of those things that like I head first dove into, and then I had a kid, and now that tiny person expects me to pay attention to her.
How rude.
I know, right? I mean, it was easier when she was an infant and she would sleep all the time, and I could just have her sleeping on my chest while I played video games. Like that was fine. But now she's the 3-year-old that wants to help, and that's not helpful.
Not at all. Not at all. My son, he tries to play my PlayStation 5, and I'm like, I don't know.
Just don't touch it. You're gonna get it
I think we
sticky.
got to get you a Switch.
Gonna get it all sticky. Yeah. So, Pyro, the creative process is different for every artist in every medium, and many have some sort of standard process or when they're starting a new project. So, do you have something like that? And can you describe it? Like my husband, when he writes a song, he usually starts with the drums and then guitar, then bass, and then whatever weird. I'm pretty sure he's got a song with theremin in it. But do you have that sort of like process of what you do first?
So basically, it's different. My first process used to be, I used to make music. I used to literally write first, because I make my own music too for the most part. So I used to write, and then as a poem, and then when I would make the song, I would literally see how I can turn the poem into different, like I would turn into the hook or the chorus, as you would say. So I think that would be the goal. And then I would add the song, and then I would literally conform it to be different parts of the song. And then literally that would be it. But once I started directing and becoming into the acting world, what I do now is literally I think of an idea of a good movie that I can make. And I would literally make a song based on that movie idea. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, my main focal point now is to think, if I had to shoot a music video for every single song on my album, I would like to have that planned. So I can literally just go 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, done. Awesome. So that's how I do it now. But before I was into the directorial, it would be literally make a poem, find a song, take pieces of the poem, and put it into a song.
Yeah, so there's been a definite evolution of what you do and how you do.
Yeah,
that's cool. I think that's a really neat idea to make the concept of how I would shoot this, how I would do this as a mini movie, for each individual song. I think that's a really cool concept.
And it actually helps with the album. Like when you create an album, it actually helps too, because then when you put the songs together, because you want it to flow conducively. So the thing is, it just ties in. Like, okay, so what happened in the sequel? What happened in the sequel after that? And what was the prequel prior to those 3 songs that you made that were the sequel? So it just works like that. And then even when you're like thinking of your skits, and because I like to add skits to them, you think about the right person that would fit. It just all works when you think of it with a major, back to chess. It just thinks with a major brand, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, because you have to think out all of your steps to make sure that you're getting to the end goal that you want. That makes a lot of sense.
And see, now I have to go back and listen to Life as a Musical from that perspective, because I didn't know this before coming into the interview with you, and now it's piquing my curiosity. So I have to go back and listen to it from that perspective.
We actually just shot the music video for that song yesterday. Actually, that's why I'm here in LA.
Oh, cool.
Because the thing is I'm very Adam Sandler, so I like to keep my same team from day one up. So I came back to LA to work with my team, and the music video was just crazy for it. It's going to be ridiculous. It's probably the craziest thing you've probably ever seen.
Awesome. I look forward to it.
Yeah, I've only ever been on the set of one music video, and that was kind of cool. My brother is a rapper from the Detroit, Michigan area, and he goes by the stage name of Shanrock. And he and his band, he was part of a rap rock band called Coming for Blood, and he was the main vocalist. And they did a rap rock cover of Jump Around from House of Pain.
Oh, I remember that song. Yeah, it's such a good song.
So yeah, it's an incredible cover, and I might be a little biased because I think my brother's awesome at what he does, and but it's a really cool video too. We went to this really cool old Irish pub in Detroit, and shot a lot of it there, and then the second day, they got people going crazy behind him on doing BMX tricks on bikes and all this kind of stuff. It's a really cool video.
But isn't it cool? Like the thing about shooting a music video versus a regular like feature or like a short film, it's so much quicker. Well, it's not quick. It's a tad bit quicker, but it's just more fun. Like it's just you have more opportunities to do a little bit more because it's a music video, but you don't think of how much stuff goes into it. But it's so fun. The creativity part of it is just so crazy.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I'm not in the video. I chose not to be. I was asked to be, but I was like, nah.
Well, that's because you don't play Skyrim. That's the reason.
Well, probably so. Yeah.
You're not cool enough to be in a music video, Tim.
No, absolutely not. That was part of the reason why I stayed out of it.
It's you at a pub. You would have been drinking the Guinness that was there and chair dancing, and it would have been beautiful.
And that's why I stayed off of it. I have too many friends who was going to hold that over my head. So, like the one that's sitting.
Never.
Exactly.
Serenading your tater tots.
Exactly. See, that's kind of my
I
point.
only remember it because I was the only sober one. Okay.
You were. No, you and my wife both, because she's a lightweight. So, all right. So, we're changing topics here. So, Pyro, in doing research for this interview, we found another interview with you from back in 2019 on Voyage LA. And in it, you talked about growing up in a middle-class family on the west side of Compton. Now, for most of us white folks, we hear about Compton, and our instant reaction is from what the late, great comedian Ralphie May said, "Oh, I've heard about that. It's in a Dr. Dre song. That sounds dangerous." So... can you describe what your life was like growing up, and how did those experiences help shape your creativity?
You know what? Where I went? No. Honestly, the Compton that I grew up in, it was bad. Sometimes I try to like say it wasn't that bad because I'm not in it no more. But it was bad. We had two rival gangs fighting against each other and I lived on one side of the street from the other rival gang. And they, trying to like literally go to school. I walked to school. So my elementary school is around the corner, but I went to a Catholic school. So, I was kind of well-rounded. My grandmother was heavy in the church. She was a choir singer. And I actually think my grandma raised me basically. Well, my mom did too. Let me not give my mom not
right.
her credit. My grandma was like definitely she was the steeple,
yeah, I get that.
So between that and heavy Catholic. So, it was kind of hard to do wrong because I was more scared of my grandmother than I was of any gang. My grandma was crazy.
Grandmas are scary.
And my grandma's from like the old South. So like Alabama, like Birmingham. And I don't know, man.
Florida. I get it.
Man, it's scary. Like I was like, man, she was like, you better not ever do a gang or I'll kill you before they do. And I'm just like, as a kid, that just stuck in my head. And she used to always say, I get butter from the duck. I never knew what that meant. But to this day, I still don't know, but I'm still scared of that. If someone told me that, I'd be like, yo. So it was kind of harsh. It was kind of harsh. There were a park next to me. It was always shootings. It was very bad, actually, late, because I was born in the late 80s.
Okay.
So late 80s, early 90s. It was. You could tell that it was going to progress, but it just didn't progress.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say that it was NWA bad like the movie for me, but you could see some like moments in between. But between that, my grandma really, she let me out the house, but not really. So she was kind of very protective of me. So I kind of had a well balance. So I had cousins, of course, that were in gangs, and so I could see them. So it's kind of like I kind of got a feel for it, but I never actually was a part of it like that.
Without having to be thrown into it.
Right, because my grandma was scary, man. Like I'm telling you, that lady was like really scary to me. Like I'm more scared of her. I'm still scared of her, and she's not here. May she rest in peace. But I'm still scared. I'm scared that she's looking everything I do, and I'm like, oh. When the wind just starts blowing really, really cold, I'm like, oh, damn. I did
But she loved you, so at least she scared you out of love.
Yes.
Yeah, so growing up, my mother was born in Tampa, and she raised my brother and I with a lot of Southern values. And so, growing up, and still to this day, I say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. I hold doors open for people because, that's what a polite boy is supposed to do. And also I do those things because I cannot be convinced that my mom isn't going to hop around from some corner and smack me upside the back of my head because I didn't say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am.
Your mom is scary. I love your mom, but your mom's scary.
I get that. So...
See, and it's funny, is like my grandmother was born in Arkansas. And so I had a lot of that same Southern value with the Irish Catholic guilt and shame.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was, I get it. I get it. There was no stepping out of line.
Yep. 5'2" little Irish redhead with freckles, telling me what to do. You learn to listen.
I was more afraid of my grandpa than anybody, but...
Oh, I can see that.
He's a scary little dude. I love him a bit. He passed in 2020, but he was great. Cute little Irish grandpa, looked like a leprechaun. Loved him to bits. At the same time.
Hey, that movie scared the crap out of me too.
I think my biggest thing is that he had these he had these suit pants. He had these dress pants that were bright Irish green. And it's like, he was the only person I knew that could pull off these bright green pants. And it was you look like a leprechaun. And I said it to him once. I told him once that he looked like a leprechaun, and he reminded me what leprechauns can do to people.
Yes.
I like your grandpa.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry for your loss, though. Man,
thank you. It was a rough year. We don't need to go into that.
Yeah.
It was only one of 3 deaths last year. That's the worst of all of them. Was no, it's hard to say.
Yay, 2020.
Right?
Yeah,
I lost a newborn nephew and my dad and my grandpa all in under 100 days. It was insane.
It was a rough go.
It was.
Yeah, it was crazy. But anyway,
so moving
back to
on.
happy things.
Hey, well, at least we get a part 2. We get a 2022. So maybe this new 2022 will be better than,
Let's hope.
It can't be no worse. It just can't.
Oh, it can. Let's not challenge it.
Oh, don't lay down that gauntlet. 2022 electric.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Electric
2022
Boogaloo.
electric boogaloo. No, thank you.
Hey, it's too soon to say gauntlet, man. We lost a great hero. That gauntlet.
So with everyone having equal access to the internet, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, DistroKid, everything.
Wow, that is interesting that you just said DistroKid on a lot of other platforms that you could have said. Wow, that was good. All right.
That one may have been my husband's doing.
Now I'm listening.
So it's easy to get lost in the abundance of content that's being made. And there isn't a platform that's dedicated to just putting out new artists and new creators to the forefront. Having had a measure of success of your own, what do you think that a new artist or a new creator can do to gain a following?
Honestly, what I tell a lot of people now is it didn't used to be cool to be yourself, but now it's more cooler to be yourself now than ever. I would literally say just get on something and just start talking. There's so many people in this world, so many crazy people, so many normal people, so many weird people, that there's a niche for almost any and everything you do. So I would literally say just get on Instagram because it's free and do some reels or some stories and just talk, And even if you live stream, I mean, you might get 2 people when you first starting off, but you could save it. People can always go back and watch it. YouTube, well, I love YouTube, whatever. Let's just not talk about YouTube.
It's a complicated thing.
Yeah, YouTube, yeah. Well, as soon as YouTube learns their algorithm, then we can talk about YouTube because they don't even know their algorithm.
We want to love them.
We want to.
We just want them to love us.
Yes. And I used to love them in 06 and 07 because I was one of the original YouTube people. And I wish it would go back. I miss it. Oh, I miss YouTube. So yeah, I would just say there's so many platforms, like you said, you can literally just talk about anything. And that's weird that you said DistroKid. I wouldn't say DistroKid because it's expensive, but they are free versions of DistroKid where you can literally just make a song and there's distribution people that'll put it out for free just to have somebody listen. Just get it out there. Even if it's bad, just get it out there. Because if it's bad and you grow, your audience will grow and it will show more realistic you versus you just waiting to put out good stuff. You'll wait too long to get out there. And then if it's good and then it turns bad, it's like, well, what are you doing? So I would literally say just any way you can, just put it out there.
DistroKid I only know of it because of my husband, because he is a songwriter and an audio engineer and our editor for the show. So yeah, it's.
Yeah.
As you're muted over there, Tim.
Right. I think he finally said a bunch of stuff that.
I did. I'm sitting here just chatting away. I coughed, and so I muted myself. And so basically, what I said was, "Hi, John." All right.
He knows we're talking about him.
He does.
Yeah.
All right. So another question I had for you, Pyro, is that with your new album, Life is a Musical, it's your second, or what many people call the sophomore album. What to you makes it stand out as being different from Symphony in LA Minor, your 2018 album? How much has changed we already talked about what's changed in your creative process. And so what makes it stand out from Symphony in LA Minor, and what are your favorite tracks on each album?
Symphony in LA Minor was an album I was working on since college. Now, with me saying that, I went to college back in 2006. Yeah, 2006. So I was literally working from 2006 to 2018 on Symphony in LA minor. So a lot of those songs I made in college. So my goal was just to release the music because it was an experience. It was still it was what happened to me. And my goal was to literally tell everyone everything in my life. I wanted to be as genuine me as possible. So I felt like it had to come out. So I just had to put it out. So it was really maybe like 1 or 2 new songs that I made as of 2018 on the album, but everything else was like 2007, 2008, 2009. And I was struggling with a bunch of engineers, so we never could actually get everything accurate. So I just felt like I had to release it. So that's why we did that. Life is a Musical is different because this was all music that I made as of 2019, 2020, 21. The pandemic didn't help a lot because the album would have released way quicker. But I felt like it was newer me, updated me, which is why I like that one so much because I felt like a kid. Symphony in LA minor was like I was a child on a lot of those songs, and I wasn't talking about a lot of things I'm talking about now. So basically, when I did Life is a Musical, it was literally all updated me, talking about financial goals, talking about finances, and talking about there's other ways of life besides just talking about just having fun. So that's where the difference was. My favorite songs probably on Life is a Musical is Life is a Musical because it literally relates to how life has ups and downs. And my saying is life is a musical, so play your part. So I feel like I feel like everyone is watching you. Even if it's 1 or 2 people, someone is watching you. So I feel like if they're watching you, it's good. If you want to inspire someone else, it's good to show them how you deal with situations, good or bad, and make the best of it. That's how you play your part in the big scheme of life. So that's why I like that song. I love February 27th because that song I did with my son. And I have him singing on. He was like 5.
That's
and
cool.
Even now he listens to it and he's like, oh, that's not me. I'm like, yeah, that's you. So I love that song for that. It's his birthday, February 27th. And then I would probably say Cali Dream, only because no matter wherever I go, because this album was made in California as I was leaving, I would still have the passion and love for where I'm from. I will always love California. I have my differences with it right now during all the situational time that we're dealing with, but I will always love where I came from and where I started. So that's why I like those 3 songs. Symphony in LA minor, my favorite song is Getaway. Getaway is my favorite song from that album because it's literally talking about sometimes you want to escape the bad times in life. And literally it's just, let's be better than what we are. That's pretty much that. And then the last one on Symphony LA minor is probably Symphony LA minor because it's just the love for LA. And I just wanted to show that in the song. Very simple, nothing crazy complicated. Just welcome to LA. It's where I'm from. Yay. I'm happy.
Awesome.
Good. It's a nice premise. I like it.
So coming back around to Tim's first question, and NDAs being what they are, and Disney being as legally intimidating as they are, and I'm not gonna mess with the mouse. I'm not going to ask you about the current project that we can see on your IMDB list, but we're not allowed to talk about.
Right.
But we all know it's there.
It's there.
It's there, and it's exciting, and we're super excited for you. But that's as far as we're gonna go, because we don't want Disney to hurt us.
I'm glad I did with my Mickey Mouse shirt today. I started to too.
Mickey's our master, and we don't want to hurt him. No.
Oh boy.
So do you have a character or a role that you'd consider to be your dream role, whether it's MCU, DC, whatever setting, or side point, who would you want to go on tour with?
You know what's funny? Before they came out with the Uncharted movie that they're working on, which I have my head about, I wanted to be Nathan Drake. Like I wanted to be like the black version. I think because I really absolutely love Nathan Drake. One of my favorite characters. I love the storyline. I just love everything about it. Besides the movie so far. So that's actually would be one of my dream roles. And I would love to do that under. I don't know. That would be a hard one. I would like Quentin Tarantino to do it.
Ooh, that would be
Nathan Drake,
fun.
Uncharted by Quentin Tarantino. That would be so cool to me.
That would be really cool.
Like that would be my dream role. If I ever was to go on tour, I would of course say Eminem, of course. But if I'm thinking more realistically, like as in like I think this can happen like maybe in a month or 2. That's how much I believe in it because my hands are itching, so money's coming. I would say probably Will Smith. That would be dope.
That would be really fun.
As a rapper though, like I don't want him to like he can act if he wants, but
right.
I just want to MC with him. I think that'd be so cool.
That would be cool.
Because I can imitate his voice slightly, so I think that would be kind of cool.
That would be fun. I would be in attendance for that.
That'd be sick.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Speaking of Eminem, though, Mom's Spaghetti opened, and I want to go.
I want to go too.
Badly. I have friends who went and posted pictures, and I'm like, is it good? It's apparently really good.
Really?
Are you physically obligated to wipe it off on your sleeve, or
I don't know.
Just no?
It's funny. There's one song he says, "Would you want me serve?" I forgot the words, but he said, "You don't want me serving you spitting on your onion rings." And I'm laughing about that because they did show that he was there one day.
He was there for the grand opening.
Oh no! I want anyone to give me the food except Eminem because I do not want him to spit on my onion rings.
Yeah, he was there for the grand opening, serving food to people. I'm like, do you not listen to your songs?
Right.
But I mean, it's not that far of a drive for me. I'm like, I mean, it is and it isn't. It's about the same drive to get to there as it is to get to my mom's house. So
yeah, same for me in Columbus. It's probably like maybe 4-5 hours, maybe if that. It's not that far.
It's not terrible.
But I want to go. I do want to go.
It's doable.
After I have Bonchon chicken in Cleveland, I'll probably go. So, yeah, definitely.
All right, we have to stop talking about food because I'm getting hungry.
I at least know what I'm making for dinner tonight, so I'm not like totally frustrated. It's just I have to go make dinner.
I miss being home. Being out, I just eat stuff that I shouldn't eat. Go to a bar, get some chicken wings. I don't know.
Chicken wings.
So irresponsible of me.
But bar food just hits differently.
Seriously, you're mocking the chubby guy right now. Okay, so
yeah, that's why I kept it going. Sorry.
Moist. Anyway,
jeez,
right back at you, buddy.
Oh.
All right, so one final question for you here, and it's our silly question. We try to end on a silly question because we like silly things. So here it is. All right, Pyro, you've been given an elephant. You can't sell it. You can't give it away. What do you name your elephant, and what do you do with it, your new elephant?
I name him Dumbo, and then I fly away. That was too easy.
That was too easy. And I was, as I'm typing this thing up, I'm like, he's gonna have to think about this for a second. He's gonna have and he's like, no, it's Dumbo, and we're gonna fly.
Come on, it's almost as easy as the penguin with the tequila question. No, penguin with the sombrero.
Yes,
I don't remember how it was.
Yeah.
It's funny that you said a penguin because a penguin can't fly. Poor bird.
They can't. They can fly underwater.
Yes.
Give him enough tequila, he'll think he's flying.
That is actually something I find fascinating about penguins, though, is that no, they are not capable of aerial flying, but when they swim, they are doing the same things that airbirds do. So they're flying underwater, not swimming.
They're flying low, really, really low.
And see, when you said this is the thing I found interesting about penguins, it was right after I said something about them drinking tequila. I thought you had this cool little factoid about alcoholic penguins. And
They
I'm
also
you have my attention.
Side point about penguins that nobody needs to know, but we're going to tell them anyway. They do have knees. They just bend backward.
Huh.
Sorry.
Wow.
How would you look at that time? Okay.
It was a question that showed up on the internet a couple of years ago with the understanding the ADHD brain with well, I have to go do this, and I have to do this, and I have to do this, but my brain is wondering whether or not penguins have knees.
Wow.
Yeah. That's how my brain works.
Well, do bees have knees? I've been trying to figure that one out.
I don't know.
You know, some bees' knees. What does that mean?
Right. We tell people
If they do, they're really
knees.
cool.
And I mean, come on, we know that somebody can be the cat's meow, and obviously cats have meows, so that would imply that bees have knees.
True.
Wow, I think this is the deepest our
I love what you just did.
ever gotten.
I think Tim is probably going to just make like a banana and split now. I think that was just knee slap.
Oh.
There you go.
There it is.
All right, well, before this show gets any weirder, Pyro, thank you so much for being on the show with us today. Where can our viewers and our listeners go to find out more about your work and what you've got coming, even if there are NDAs attached to them?
Yeah, you can actually, you know what? I think I might be on Google with those IMDB projects. So you can always Google Jarrell Pyro Johnson. I can also be on Apple Music under the same name, Spotify, Audio Mac DistroKid, Amuse, man, so every platform you can just type this name and you'll find it.
Awesome. Well, we will make sure that we link those in our episode description so that our viewers can find you. And we will remind people that if you want to find somebody, just Google them.
Google is free.
It is.
Devices. So remember, guys, subscribing is the single most important thing you can do to help us get more amazing guests like Jarrell, Pyro Johnson here to have these great conversations with, to find out whether or not bees have knees and other amazing topics. But please subscribe. It's going to help more than you'll ever really know. And remember, kids, pop culture, it's all around us. It influences everything we do, everything we think about. So if you want to continue to be influenced, come back next week. We're going to have your fix waiting for you right here on Pop Culture Addicts.
Thanks again, Pyro.
Yay, thanks for having me.
All right, guys. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
On behalf of the rest of the hosts of the FSF PopCast, we want to thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to be a guest on a future episode, please contact us by means of Twitter or Instagram using the handle @FSF PopCast. Or go to www.fsfpopcast.com and click on the Contact Me link. Thanks again, and hope you enjoyed the episode.